Okay, in this recording, we are going to learn a couple different things. We're going to learn how to do something a little more complex, like this Lego wheel, like how to do a tread and like a hubcap. And we're also going to learn how to do something called an assembly file. So we're going to attempt to do something like this. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to say that this inner white part is an inch, and then this outer part, the black part, is also going to be an inch. And then we're going to just, right now we're just going to kind of eyeball it. In real life we would want to use some dial calipers and make sure this are exact, but for the sake of just making this quick and easy, we're going to call the inner white part an inch, which you're going to do too, and then just kind of eyeball the rest. So we're going to start a new part file, and we're going to start with our inner white part, and we're going to call that 1 inch. And then again, for normal circumstances we want to measure, but for right now we're just going to guess, and for the sake of simplicity we're going to say that it's a 1/2 inch thick. Okay. So if we go back to our picture here, we see there's kind of this design in the middle. We've got kind of like this curved cutout part, and then we've got this part in between. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to cut this part out, and then we'll do this part over top. So to do that, we're going to start a sketch on another plane. So we can use this plane. So we're going to right click on the YZ plane and make it visible. And then we're going to start a new sketch on our new plane. And then I want to project geometry. So on this new sketch, I want to be able to see this line and know where it's at. So I projected that one, and then for right now I'm just going to finish that sketch. I want to be able to see what I'm doing, so there's a couple different ways we could do this. We could just kind of guess, or we can turn the visibility of this extrusion off. So to do that, we're going to right click on extrusion and then click suppress feature. So now that's gone, but I can still see that pink line that we made. So again, we're eyeballing here. In real life we'd want to use some dial calipers. So this white part represents that circle. So somewhere closer in, we've got where our curve starts. We're going to try to represent that curve, and then there might be something else that's happening under here. We're just going to say that it's flat all the way across for the sake of simplicity. But then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this, or revolve it all the way around to cut it out. So like I said, we're going to eyeball it. So we're going to go to our sketch number 2, and we're going to go back and edit the sketch. So this line represents the top of the wheel, and so let's start from the center, and then we're going to move out approximately how wide we think that inner part is. So let's just do, let's see, 0.4 is probably okay. Maybe it's a little big, but we're just kind of eyeballing it, so it's okay. And then we're going to go to this arc. We're going to click here, and arcs take 3 clicks. One where you want it to start, one where you want it to end, and then third one for the curve. And I think that's not deep enough, so I'm going to go back and delete this, and let's make that a little bit bigger. That's good. And then we're going to complete this. And just to be sure, we're going to right click on it and close the loop, and then we're going to click on all the parts that it takes to close the loop. Now it's been closed. We're going to finish, and then we're going to bring back that thing that we took away. So there we go. So now it's back to where we were, and what we're going to do is we're going to revolve that sketch revolve that sketch around our axis. Oops, wrong axis. Let's try that again. There we go, like that. And we want this to cut it out. And then click OK. And that looks pretty good. I want to get rid of this plane now, so let's go up and we'll get rid of the visibility. And so now we've got a hollowed out wheel. So we've got a good start to our the inner part. So now we're going to add the rest of this. So we're going to add a circle and then these squares, or these spokes, if you will. So let's go back here. So we're going to start a new sketch. And before we start a new sketch, we want to add a plane, because we could click on this surface, but then I think that would work, but let's just make sure that we're doing this right. So we're going to add a plane here. And we're going to start, well, I guess we're okay. So we're on the plane of this. So when we add stuff, we're going to be adding it above and not below. So we're going to put in a circle that's about this big, so not quite to the curved part. Whoa. So let's add another circle. And that looks pretty good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our line tool, and we may need to zoom in so it doesn't automatically jump to the center there, but we're going to make a line from here up to here. And in fact, we want it to go a little bit longer, so let's try that again. Let's go from here all the way past the line, and then we'll go over, and then we're going to guess, we'll try to make this symmetrical. That seems pretty symmetrical. So now, instead of having to try to duplicate that over and over again, we're just going to revolve this pattern. So we're going to select the parts that we want. And in fact, before we do that, let's get rid of this little guy. So we're going to trim there. We may have to trim it in the other spots, but that might do it for us. Let's see. And then we want to revolve this around our center axis. And then we only want 4 of these guys, so we'll do 4, and then we'll hit OK. Yep, and it looks like we gotta go back and trim, so let's trim that part, and that part. Now let's finish our sketch. So we're going to extrude this part in the other direction. We don't want it to be cut out though, we just want it to be solid. And that looks pretty good. Let's see, if we compare this to the picture, I think we did okay. This middle part might be a little too big, but that's okay. So anyway, I think we did a good job. Let's save this, and we'll just call this wheel. I practiced this once, so I'm going to call this wheel 2. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start a new file. And this is going to be the tread, and I'm going to start a new video for the tread.